Mike Tyson a affronté de nombreux adversaires redoutables au cours de sa carrière. Il les a tous mis KO avec une férocité inégalée, consolidant ainsi son surnom de Iron Mike. Chaque géant qui s'est dressé sur son chemin a fini impitoyablement vaincu, victime de ses poings dévastateurs. L'un d'entre eux fut le légendaire Larry Holmes, qui s'effondra au sol après avoir encaissé une puissante droite. Pourtant, le 11 février 1990, à Tokyo, au Japon, Tyson se retrouva face à un adversaire qui allait réussir l'impensable. James Buster Douglas. Douglas arriva pour ce combat avec une motivation unique. 3 semaines auparavant, sa mère, Lula Pearl, était décédée de manière inattendue. Cette perte fut un coup dévastateur pour lui, mais au lieu de s'effondrer, il promit d'honorer sa mémoire en livrant le combat de sa vie. Malgré les difficultés, notamment une grippe qui l'avait affaibli quelques jours avant le combat et des bookmakers qui le donnaient perdant avec une cote de 42 contre 1, Douglas ne se laissa pas intimider. Il monta sur le ring déterminé à prouver qu'il n'était pas un simple prétendant, mais un véritable guerrier. Mike Tyson avait pulvérisé tous ses adversaires avec une férocité inhumaine. Iron Mike semblait indestructible. Même des légendes comme Larry Holmes avaient fini sur la toile après avoir subi sa puissance dévastatrice. Mais à Tokyo, au Japon, le 11 février 1990, il se retrouva face à un adversaire qui allait réussir l'impensable. James Buster Douglas. 3 semaines auparavant, sa mère, Lula Pearl, était décédée. Au lieu de s'effondrer, Douglas jura d'honorer sa mémoire. Il arriva également affaibli par une grippe et avec une cote de 42 contre 1 en sa défaveur. Malgré tout, il ne se laissa pas intimider. Cette nuit-là, il allait livrer le combat de sa vie. Dès le premier coup de cloche, Tyson sortit avec son agressivité habituelle, se déplaçant rapidement et cherchant à réduire la distance. Mais quelque chose était différent. Douglas ne semblait absolument pas intimidé. Il se déplaçait avec confiance, utilisant son long jab pour maintenir Tyson à distance. Contrairement aux autres adversaires, il ne se laissait pas enfermer dans les cordes. Même si Tyson parvenait à placer quelques coups au corps, Douglas répondait avec des combinaisons précises.
I think sometimes you believe things that you're hoping for. But honestly speaking, Buster looks proud of a scheduled 12-round World Heavyweight Championship fight. The head's coming together. You saw Mike's head come by Mike. A couple of unusual things here. You know, again, from like Trevor Berbick and Bone Crusher Smith, with the exception of Tony Tuck, fight is fighting Mike. Hey. Big thing is whether he can sustain this. Look at them as they exchange here in round 1. May have taken it on the glove there, but Buster is here to fight. What nobody else has been able to do, can he actually ever back Mike off? Certainly looking like an advantage for Buster Douglas here in the early going. Coming up to the closing seconds of this, the first one. Wow! With the right hand in round 1.
Douglas commençait à montrer quelque chose que personne n'avait réussi à faire face à Tyson, contrôler le rythme du combat. Grâce à son jab précis et à sa mobilité, il frustrait le champion. Tyson tentait d'esquiver et de placer son crochet du gauche, mais Douglas l'accueillait avec des contres propres et précis. La surprise était évidente sur les visages des membres de l'équipe de Tyson.
Mike comes through, leans to the right and then throws, going to explode. You've seen it so many times before. Moran has to separate the two. Mike comes through and misses the jab. Fight. You heard about Buster Douglas' mom passed. That didn't seem to bother him. This is the biggest night of his life. Midway, let's see. Hey, there's a grazing right hand gets through. The left hand again by Douglas. Surprising, probably would be scored more even by the judges because truck that have the punch stat information actually telling us that Mike Tyson, which is very surprising. Of course, Mike at any time lands that, said Larry Rezadio, he's the judge we're actually talking about. They threw that time by Buster. Look at this, Buster landing some shots here in the fight against Tony Tucker, which was a real tough fight. Buster kind of...
Le combat ne ressemblait déjà plus à une victoire facile pour Tyson. Douglas, de plus en plus confiant, commençait à combiner son jab avec des droites qui trouvaient le visage du champion. Tyson, même s'il continuait à lancer ses coups avec puissance, ne parvenait pas à imposer son rythme habituel. Pour la première fois depuis longtemps, quelqu'un était en train de le surpasser en vitesse et en précision.
See Mike much more backed off by Mike Tyson, which is something we just haven't seen in other fights. Buster Douglas is not intimidated by Mike Tyson. Mike not using a... And Buster has that history of kind of wearing down Octavio Moran, the third man in the ring. Unbelievable, the progress. Douglas, of course, in the white. You see him feint right, and then he doesn't. He grabs on and holds. You see right there? And that prevents Mike from doing by Mike Tyson. That one he kind of shoots from the hip and left hook of Mike Tyson. Oh, there's the left hook that got through. See if Buster can hang on and keep him off. Instead, his Buster Crusher Smith, the big tall guy. Mitch Blood Green, a big tall. Both of those opponents just sort of hung on to Mike with seconds now as the bell ends. Round no.
Douglas poursuivait son plan à la perfection. Il maintenait la distance, utilisait son jab et profitait de chaque ouverture. Tyson, frustré, tentait de forcer le combat, mais il encaissait des coups chaque fois qu'il essayait de s'approcher. Une puissante droite de Douglas fit sentir à Tyson toute la puissance de son adversaire. Le public de Tokyo commençait à comprendre, ce n'était pas un combat comme les autres.
He's a guy that, as we've seen so many times in other Jose Rebalta that went 10 rounds, and I suppose Tyrell Biggs, that Mike, when he decides to pick up the pace, can do it. Of course, they beat that left going. Oh, well, gee, there's a right hand that gets through. I'm talking about the time Mike's hands up. For some reason, Mike just doesn't look as aggressive and menacing. Don't ever forget that. Wow, that's the great thing about the heavyweights. There's the ability of Buster Douglas again. Fights and you see, there's Mike missing that big left and just Buster Douglas. And Douglas answering with loaded up shots of his own as the bell ends.
Tyson réussit finalement à réduire la distance et à placer 2 crochets qui firent vaciller Douglas. Mais au lieu de paniquer, le challenger résista et répondit avec une combinaison rapide qui repoussa une nouvelle fois le champion. La confiance de Douglas grandissait à chaque seconde qui passait.
Mike wants to drag this into some later rounds, but there was a real good bit of swelling and puffiness by that left eye. See the jab followed by the right hand?
No.
You know, as the rounds go by, he has to now. Might never fight. Oh, big right hand. If 2, 3, or 4 is a question mark, he's winning the 5th round. He's a professional boxing judge at the midway point here, and even if Mike lunging with the left hand. And Buster seems quick enough on his feet, he's able to slide back. A lot of that has to do with the height and reach that he has. Mike, they just tied him up and it made for a lackluster fight. Buster Douglas.
No.
That have fought Mike, no matter whom they may be. Is Mike having an off night? You don't know. I mean,
No.
we've seen him in any of his fights behind in the fights before and then because they're the tallest guys that I can recall him fighting. You see that punishing coming up to the closing seconds of the 5th, and this is certainly Buster Douglas. Do something in itself. Back into the...
Le visage de Tyson commençait à montrer les signes des coups encaissés. L'un de ses yeux commençait à enfler et sa mobilité n'était plus la même. Douglas, grâce à son excellent jeu de jambes, continuait à le punir avec son jab. Les commentateurs et le public n'arrivaient pas à croire ce qu'ils voyaient. Tyson était clairement en train de perdre les rounds.
Hey, is Mike mentally prepared to go the distance in this fight? Career. Oh, nice jab by Tyson that time. Thunder in both hands. And you get the idea now that the adrenaline's pumping here. And this is when they separate the great diversity. And Mike has got to rebound from this because the movement. Mike continues to stay flat-footed, not showing a lot, but Buster's been able to gobble him up. See, that one just off. We're in the closing, going to jump as the bell ends the 6th round. Buster...
Tyson tenta de reprendre le contrôle en lançant ses coups avec toute sa puissance. Cependant, Douglas l'accueillait avec des combinaisons précises. Une droite à la mâchoire força Tyson à reculer d'un pas, quelque chose qui arrivait très rarement. Le champion était en grande difficulté.
Going to this point, you at least have to begin thinking the possibility of these guys in the boxing game having the best night of his life. Mike, if he's not execute a lot of things, his hands aren't real busy, he's throwing a lot of wide punches, and again, you see the jab, holding Mike off. Third Buster, he's in great shape, there's no question about it. Look at him pushing Mike. Buster has got the confidence of perhaps, you know, you go back to when, hey, maybe I can beat this guy, Muhammad Ali, is Spinks. And when a fighter believes in himself and he's ahead of Mike Tyson inside, Buster fatigue here. I think Mike probably having his best round of the fight. And that to me is Tyson's.
Alors que Douglas semblait avoir le contrôle absolu du combat, Tyson sortit son arme la plus puissante. À seulement quelques secondes de la fin du round, il plaça un brutal uppercut du droit qui envoya Douglas au tapis. Le public rugit. Douglas tomba, mais il se releva. Alors que le compte arrivait à 9, le challenger était debout et prêt à continuer. Tyson chercha à l'achever avant la fin du round, mais la cloche sauva Douglas. Le combat venait de prendre une nouvelle tournure. Douglas pourrait-il résister?
Mike trying to sustain what he did in the 7th there. We find out from the truck again that Mike only averaged about, I think, in the 8th round. He's busier. And again, for about the 6 ones or 2 fighters, about the heads coming together. Neither fighter, left eye, Buster, a little abrasion by that big right hand, but Mike takes it on the glove, and he backs off Mike again with the left. It right there, right on top of it, just as I say it, wow, with the right hand that time. And the fact of the matter is, it's bust gas in the early going of this round. He's got it back together in the late portion here. We've been looking for that all night. Oh, there's a nice uppercut that time. That drops up to 2, and 3, and 4. Is 8. And here it is at 9. Is he going to get up? Yes, he does. All right. What a turn of events. Brings back, trying to get those legs. It'll be an uppercut from Mike Tyson that eventually catches him. And there it is. Look at that. And down went Buster Douglas. Different angle. Look at the head. And that's the Mike Tyson we've been looking for all night. Can Buster get it together between the 8th and 9th? Is it just another day of the...
Malgré avoir été au bord du chaos, Douglas revint avec encore plus de détermination. Il surprit Tyson avec une combinaison rapide qui le fit vaciller. Le champion, encore éprouvé par les efforts du round précédent, ne parvenait pas à retrouver son rythme. Douglas, voyant son opportunité, poussa Tyson contre les cordes et le punit avec des coups précis.
Look at these shots just loading up by Mike Tyson. Buster seems to have the bounce back in his legs. In fact, he looks better right. And oh, haven't seen Buster do, certainly in the Tony Tucker fight when he got in trouble. He passed the midway point in round 9, and I expected, Mike, look at this! Look at Buster come, I don't know, he caught him again! Buster fights back strongly, can't get careless. Look at this! Who would ever have expected this? And he comes back, showing the heart, the tremendous heart that we've seen. Buster's got the heart back. Wow! Mike, I haven't seen Mike in this kind of trouble before. Look at Mike actually. Buster down, as you know, in the last round. No surprise. All right, there's the bell, ending the 9th round.
Douglas, animé d'une confiance inébranlable, sortit déterminé à terminer le combat. Dans la première minute du round, il plaça une combinaison dévastatrice, une droite parfaitement ajustée, suivie d'un uppercut brutal et d'une autre droite qui envoya Tyson au tapis.
Not intimidated, he wants to keep it going. Mike actually, his legs, notice his legs and these wide legs together as Buster's landing these. Oh, nice uppercut by Buster Douglas. Look at this! For the first time in his career, Mike Tyson hits the canvas. He may not be able to recover. It's up to 7 and 8. He's not gonna be. Unbelievable! Unbelievable! Buster Douglas, beat of the world. This has got to be one of the biggest upsets in the... No matter who the opponent is, this is unbelievable. 2 jabs, 3rd jab. Mike's legs weren't there at this stage, in my opinion. Still coming forward, and there is and it's that uppercut that had Mike back reeling, and then followed up by a real strong left. He is now about to be counted out. Wow, boy,